morning, dear students. I am Miss Naveda Sheikh from Brahan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika MCGM virtual class. I welcome all my dear students to another and interesting session. In today's session, we'll be learning something new and interesting from a science textbook. So let's get started. Good morning, dear students. I am Mrs. Naveda Sheikh from MCGM virtual class. I welcome all my dear students to another and interesting session. In today's class, we'll be learning a very interesting chapter from your E.V.S.1 textbook, and the chapter's name is Infectious Diseases and How to Prevent Them. Now, it is a very interesting chapter and a very important chapter because you will be learning about various diseases and which are very dangerous to us, which can spread from one person to the other or by other means, and how can we prevent them? मतलब वो हमें होने से हम लोग कैसे बच सकते हैं? So it is very important chapter. So let's continue ahead and learn something new and interesting. Have you ever seen your mother or your brother who has an headache? अगर किसी को हेडेक हमारे घर में हो रहा है, सर दर्द हो रहा है, so do you get headache from them? The answer is no. Do you also get a headache if you go near him or her? No. If you go to your brother who is having an headache, हम लोगों को होता है क्या headache उनके करीब जाने से? नहीं. If suppose when your friend falls while playing, you gets hurt, does anyone tell you don't go near them, you will also get hurt? ऐसा कोई बोलता हम लोगों को? नहीं ना. When you're playing with your friends and if they fall and if they hurt themselves, if there's bleeding in their knee or anything happens to them while playing, okay, nobody tells you that don't go near them. They always tell you that you should help your friends who have fallen and help them to stand up, right? Clean them. बट ऐसा नहीं है कि हम लोग किसी के करीब जाते हैं कि किसी को मार लग जाती है तो अगर हम लोग उसे हाथ लगाएंगे तो हम लोग को भी मार लग जाएगी, ऐसा है? नो. So these are a few examples of diseases or problems that we face which are not communicable. मतलब ये दूसरों को फैलती नहीं है छूने से या देखने से, ठीक है? There are a few diseases which are very infectious. Diseases which can spread from one person to the other by some or the other means. चाहे वो air के through हो, पानी के through हो या खाने के through हो, ठीक है? They can transmit from one person to the other. Now here you can see cold, cough, okay? When you are experiencing cold and cough, teachers always tell you that if you're not well, do not come to school. Why do they say so? Because जब हम लोग को सर्दी बुखार होती है तो there are chances कि हमारे disease दूसरों के अंदर जाए और हम लोगों को, हमारे friends को भी वो problem हो सके. So those type of diseases which spread from one person to other, such diseases are called infectious diseases. ठीक है? ऐसे diseases जो spread होते हैं, मतलब आसानी से एक इंसान से दूसरे इंसान तक आसानी से फैल सकते हैं, उसे हम लोग infectious diseases कहते हैं. ठीक है? So again I'll repeat, the diseases which spread from one person to other, such diseases are called infectious diseases. Now how do these diseases spread? The disease spread with the help of the germs. Now germs are present everywhere. Okay, these are very minute and they cannot be seen through your naked eyes. मतलब हमारी आंखों से हम लोग इन्हें देख नहीं सकते. ये इतने minute होते हैं, इतने बारीक होते हैं, and they are called as microorganisms. Okay, they are called microorganisms because they are very small and these can produce various type of diseases in our body. So they are caused by microorganisms. Every infectious disease is caused by a specific microorganism or germ. ठीक है? So there are various types of diseases. Like I'll just give you a very simple example. Nowadays we are going through a very serious problem, that is coronavirus, right? This coronavirus is nothing but a microorganism that you can see on the screen. Now this virus is very specific. ये अगर किसी की बॉडी में एंटर होगा तो वो पर्टिकुलर डिजीज ही बनाएगा उसके अंदर, ठीक है? उसको कोरोना वायरस ही होगा, कोविड-19 हो जाएगा. That coronavirus bacteria or the virus will not make that person suffer from tuberculosis or from cholera. ऐसा नहीं होगा, ठीक है? क्यों? क्योंकि वो जो बैक्टीरिया है या जर्म है वो एक तरीके की डिजीज प्रोड्यूसिंग क्वालिटी होती है उसके अंदर. अगर वो जॉन्डिस का है तो जॉन्डिस होगा, अगर वो टाइफाइड का है तो टाइफाइड होगा, अगर वो ट्यूबरक्लोसिस का है, टीबी का है तो उसे टीबी होगा, उससे टीबी ही होगा। ठीक है, सो दे आर वेरी स्पेसिफिक। ठीक है, when the germs of a particular disease enters the body and begins to grow, the person gets the disease. Okay, now you're breathing air. It is always said that nowadays if you're going out, you should cover your mouth and your nose while walking also. Why is it said so? Because nowadays there are many people who are suffering from COVID-19, coronavirus, and that virus can enter into your body and it will be in your body for a few days and then it will start to multiply. मतलब ये बढ़ता जाता है हमारी body के अंदर, grow होता है, and then that particular person gets the disease, and then that person will start to feel suffocation, body will start aching, the person will might have very high temperature, fever. ठीक है, तो ये symptoms फिर बॉडी बताने लगती है. सो अंडरस्टैंड के जो डिजीज है वो किससे कॉज होते हैं? इट इज कॉज्ड बाय माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म. दीज माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स आर वेरी स्पेसिफिक इन नेचर. मतलब अगर वो ट्यूबरक्लोसिस का जर्म है तो वो आदमी को ट्यूबरक्लोसिस ही होगा, कॉलेरा नहीं होगा उससे. Okay, remember that. These germs have the ability to go inside your body and multiply and grow and then cause disease in you. Now, how is one person disease passed on to the another person? कैसे होता है ये? If a person is suffering from any kind of disease, अगर एक small cold या cough भी होता है हम लोगों को, ठीक है? If a person is suffering from a normal cold or a viral flu, when a person has a cold, the germ from his body spreads in the air when he coughs or sneezes. ठीक है, जब हम लोग स्नीज करते हैं, कॉफ करते हैं, तो हमारे मुंह में से जो जर्म्स निकलते हैं, ठीक है, you have those germs which are able to produce cold. ठीक है, now that person, if he sneezes or coughs, what will happen? The air is coming out from your nose and the mouth, which is carrying the germs along with it. Now, when these germs enter other people's body, they can also get the disease. If a healthy person is there, and suppose if that person is not suffering from that disease, now if this person is sneezing, what will happen? The germs will enter into the another person's body who was healthy, and that person will also get the disease. And this is how the disease spreads. Typhoid spreads when its germs are passed on by a person ill with typhoid to another person. ठीक है, अगर एक person को typhoid हुआ है तो अगर वो लोग सेम चीज़ें शेयर कर रहे हैं तो there are chances, अगर वो जो इंसान को typhoid हुआ है, if that person is not washing his hands properly, there are chances that the other person who's healthy might also get typhoid. Okay, so this is how the diseases spread. Disease can spread from one person to the other. Means could be different, मतलब अलग अलग तरीके से फैल सकते हैं. कभी कभार हवा से, कभी direct contact से, sometimes it could be through food, water, insect. So how can a disease spread? So how are diseases spread? The disease could be spread by contaminated food or contaminated water. It could spread through air, very common. Then it could spread to vectors, that is insects like mosquitoes, flies. Okay. Then it could spread through direct contact. Direct contact मतलब अगर एक person को कोई बीमारी है, उसको direct contact में अगर हम लोग आते हैं, हम लोग उसे छूते हैं, तो हम लोगों को वो बीमारी हो सकती है. Indirect contact means sometimes you touch a person who's ill, must have touched something else, and if you go and touch that part again, like here you can see the toilet seat, the flush tank. If a person has used the flush tank and you are healthy, and if you touch the same flush tank, there are chances that the disease can spread, okay, to your body as well. Contaminated needles also, the injections that are given to the patient, what happens is sometimes the person who is getting the injection must, it could be reused. अगर कभी किसी डॉक्टर ने उसे reuse किया है, तो what will happen? The person who is healthy might also can get that, contract that disease. So these are a few ways through which the disease can spread. Okay, air, food, water, insects, direct contact. Spread of diseases through air. Now it is very important to understand how the diseases spread through air. Here you can see a person who's suffering from tuberculosis or any normal influenza, flu. What happens when that person starts to cough or sneeze? The germs of a disease like influenza are present in the spit or saliva of the person who has the disease. जो इंसान को इन्फ्लुएंजा होता है या ट्यूबरक्लोसिस होता है उनके बॉडी के अंदर ये जर्म्स प्रेजेंट होते हैं. सो जब उनका सलाइवा होता है जो थूक होता है इन दैट ऑल्सो there are germs present of influenza. So when he coughs or spits, they enter the air with the tiny droplets of saliva or spit. When other people breathe in that same air, okay, if that person must have given out must have spitted somewhere, and if a healthy person nearby is passing by, if he is breathing that same air in which the influenza bacteria or the influenza germs were present, the germs will enter into that body also. Diseases of the throat and the chest spread through the air. For example, of cold and cough, tuberculosis, swine flu. Nowadays you have corona, etc. That is why we are told to cover our mouth and nose when we cough or sneeze. Okay, so that is why it is always said that whenever you have cold, cough, any kind of disease, you should always cover your mouth. ठीक है, अगर हम लोगों को सर्दी खांसी बुखार हो रही है, अगर हम लोगों को छींकना है, we want to cough, you should always make a note that you should always remember to cover your face and mouth. Okay, so I hope this is clear how the disease spread through air. Here also in this picture you can see it is very clearly shown a person who is coughing. जब वो खांसता है तो there are water droplets coming from your mouth that you cannot see sometimes, that you can feel sometimes. Now if that person, the girl who is healthy enough, if she takes in that same air, those bacteria will enter into her lungs and then cause the disease. Okay, the girl might also get tuberculosis. So this is how the disease spread through air. You are also in this picture, you can see while coughing, while sneezing, while talking to your friends, there are chances that the germs enter into the healthy person's body also. Let us understand the spread of disease through water. How does the some of the disease be spread through water? The germs of diseases of the intestines like typhoid, cholera, diarrhea, as also of jaundice are present in the feces of the affected person. Now, feces means जब हम लोग टॉयलेट करते हैं, potty करते हैं. Now that is if the person is affected. ठीक है? So when you're washing or you're cleaning yourself, there are chances that those bacteria or the germs will get attached to your hand while cleaning yourself. Okay, so it is always said that you should wash your hands with the soap or any hand wash because it will help you to remove all the germs that are there in your hand. Okay, after coming from the toilet. So if the feces gets mixed with water, the germs in it also enters the water. In this picture, you can see a boy who is passing out his stool near the river. Okay, now this stools, that person is affected by any of the diseases like typhoid, cholera, diarrhea. अगर उसे हो रहा होगा तो ये germs ये पानी में mix हो जाएगा. ये पानी लोग दूसरे कामों के लिए यूज करते हैं. Like if another person is using that same water for drinking, or if another person is using for washing clothes, anything, or washing utensils, the contaminated water by which is having the germs, जिसके अंदर germs present है, that will enter into our intestines also where we are healthy, and that person can also get the same disease. So in order to prevent the spread of disease in this manner, it is best to avoid washing clothes and bathing in the water's resources or defecating on the banks of the river, etc. Okay, so here in this picture you can see that a boy is having bath in the water. You can see a lady who is washing utensils and clothes in the same water, and animals passing out their stools, and the boy also who's passing out defecating in near the river banks. What will happen is all the germs, there are bacteria, there are germs which are present that might enter into the water bodies, and if you are using that same water body for drinking purpose, you can imagine कि वो germs हमारी body में भी जाएंगे और हमें भी बीमार कर देंगे. ठीक है. So that is why हम लोग को ये सारी चीजें avoid करनी चाहिए. You can see there are many places where there is shortage of water and the water is very dirty also. So they do not have any other option but to use that same water. And if they are using that same water, there are chances that they might get the disease also. Okay, various kind of diseases, various type of germs and bacteria, viruses are present in this water, and these microorganisms will enter into our body and then affect us and cause disease in our body. Now let us understand the spread of disease through food. खाने के थ्रू भी diseases spread होते हैं. अब वो कैसे होते हैं? Let us see. You must have heard that a number of people getting gastro or diarrhea after eating contaminated food at a function. कभी कभार हम लोग कहीं शादी में जाते हैं और कुछ गलत खाना अगर सही नहीं होता है, if the food is contaminated, what will happen that for some of the people in that particular function might get diarrhea, means loose motion, vomiting. The disease spread through food also. So this is a example showing you that diseases can spread through food also, infected food, contaminated food also. This is also called food poisoning. Okay, when you are at a party, if you eat something, or in your house also, if there is something kept for a long time in your house and you eat that thing, what will happen is you might fall sick, you might get loose motions or vomiting. That is what is diarrhea or food poisoning. It is very dangerous and it is also one of the way through which you can understand कि ये germs हमारे खाने के थ्रू भी हमारे बॉडी में एंटर कर सकते हैं. Now if for example here you can see the flies are sitting on the food and the girl is eating that same food. हम लोगों को कभी कभार पता नहीं होता है, but क्या हो रहा है when the fly picks up pathogen from fecal matter and carries it on its body. You can see in the picture that there is a feces placed and the flies are sitting on the same feces. Suppose अगर वो feces किसी infected person का है जिसे बीमारी होगी किसी भी तरीके की, टाइफाइड की, कॉलरा की, और अगर वो सेम फ्लाई हमारे खाने पे आके बैठती है, what will happen? The fly will transfer the pathogen to the food that you are going to eat. When this person eats this contaminated food and then the person gets sick. Okay? So this is how a simple fly can cause disease in our body as well. And this is how the food is carrying germs and then it is affecting our body. You have seen flies sitting on dirt. When they sit on the feces of a person who has an intestinal disease, the germs of the disease stick to their legs. Always remember, ये जो मक्खियाँ हैं, ये सब सारी चीज़ें हम लोगों को अच्छी चीज़ों पे बैठते हुए नहीं दिखाई देती, हमेशा गंदी चीज़ों पे ही बैठे हुए दिखाई देती है. On dirt, on toilets. Okay, so when these flies, when they fly from that dirt or from any uh, गार्बेज एरिया where they were sitting on, okay, वहां से अगर वो उड़कर हमारे खाने पे आके बैठती है तो what will happen, उनके पैर में ऑलरेडी वो germs attached है. ठीक है, they are carrying those germs along with them and when they sit on our food they are transferring those germs onto our food. When the same flies sit on the food, the germs enter the food. Now if you eat the same food, the germs will enter your body also and we can get the same disease. That is why it is important to always keep our food covered. So here you should always remember that keeping food covered ensures that flies cannot sit on it. Dust and other rubbish in the surrounding also cannot enter it. This prevents the microorganism from entering the food and the spread of disease is also prevented. ठीक है, अगर हम लोग फूड को अच्छी तरीके से कवर करेंगे, खुला नहीं रखेंगे, तो जो फ्लाइज है और जो डस्ट वगैरह है ये खाने पे सेटल नहीं होगा. अगर ये खाने पे सेटल नहीं होगा तो हमें कोई तरीके की बीमारी नहीं होगी फ्रॉम द फूड. Okay, so you should always make sure that your food is covered. And one more important thing you should always keep in mind is you should always wash your hands when you have used the toilet. Okay, So after using the toilet, you should make sure that you wash your hands with soap or a hand wash so that all the germs that have stuck to your hand while cleaning yourself get washed off. Okay. Here is a very simple example that shows that how the diseases could spread in the kids of your age. You can see that if a boy is playing on the ground with their toys or the ball or any animal, okay, so what happens is there are germs present in the body of the animals, also in the ground, in the soil, or on the toys also. ठीक है, if you're going home after playing and if you go and directly eat your food without washing your hands, without washing the fruit, then what will happen? You will fall sick. ठीक है, there are chances that you might fall sick. On the other hand, if you see in the next case, the boy who is playing with the toys or with the dog, if he after going home, he is first washing his hand. Okay, first he is washing his hand and then he has picked up a fruit and eaten. So that way he will remain healthy and not fall sick. Let us see how the diseases spread through insects. As I told you that insects are responsible for spreading diseases. Here you can see a housefly which is sitting on a biscuit. This housefly must have sat on in the garbage bin also, on the feces also, and you must have noticed कि जो houseflies वगैरह होती है, they have a habit of rubbing their legs. ठीक है, पीछे को पैर हमेशा झाड़ते रहते हैं. Now what happens exactly is when they're sitting on anything which is dirty, they have germs attached to their leg, and when they come and sit on the food that is uncovered that you're going to eat, what will happen? The germs will get attached to that food as well. And when you eat that infected or contaminated food, you will also get the disease. There are different types of mosquitoes which are responsible for causing diseases like malaria. Okay, so if an infected mosquito bites an uninfected person, what will happen? All the person who's healthy might also get the disease. Okay, so infection spreads through body and into the red blood cells. Second, mosquito bites infected person. The mosquitoes may now transfer infection to another person. So if a person who's already suffering from malaria, वो जब insect उसका blood suck करता है, mosquito उसका blood suck करता है, that mosquito is already having malaria germs in it. Now, when this mosquito goes and bites a healthy person, what will happen? He will inject the blood. Along with the blood, there will be virus of the disease caused like malaria into that healthy person. और जब वो उसे काटता है तो उसके अंदर भी ये मलेरिया के germs enter हो जाते हैं. ठीक है? You may be aware that one can get malaria from the bite of a certain kind of mosquito. When this type of mosquito bites someone who has malaria, here you can see this mosquito is biting a person who's already got malaria. This green color thing that you see are malaria microorganisms. Okay, these are malaria germs. The malaria germs in the person's blood enters the mosquito's body with the blood it sucks. If this same mosquito, now here you have to see the other mosquito. If this same mosquito goes and bites another person, the malaria germs enters the person's body too, and he too can get malaria. Insects like mosquitoes, lice and fleas spread diseases. That is why we must stop insects from breeding. So, in order to prevent mosquitoes from breeding, we must ensure that there is no stagnant water in the surrounding. मतलब कहीं पर भी पानी ऐसा जमा नहीं होना चाहिए. And if it is stagnant, if you have stagnant water collected anywhere, what you have to do is you should make sure that it is to be cleaned. वो पानी को निकालना चाहिए and it should be sprayed with some insecticides ताकि उसके अंदर किसी भी तरीके का insect पैदा ना हो. But if that is not possible, insecticides have to be used. Thus, diseases like malaria can be prevented. Okay, तो ये टायर्स है या फिर हमारे पॉट्स है, कहीं पर कोई खड्डा है, तो if there is water which is getting accumulated over a period of time और if you will notice that there will be small lava, which is a small white color thing that you see in the water, stagnant water, like worms. Okay, now those will develop into mosquitoes and cause diseases like malaria, like dengue. Okay, so you should see to it that you should clear all these places where you have stagnant water. Spread of diseases through direct contact. You must have seen some people getting this kind of uh, thing on their hand or on their leg, on their neck. Now this is what is ringworm. Okay, this is a disease which can spread directly from one person to the other. मतलब अगर किसी को रिंगवर्म हुआ है और अगर हम लोग उससे डायरेक्टली उसकी स्किन को अगर टच करते हैं तो हमें भी रिंगवर्म हो सकता है. ठीक है, सो रिंगवर्म्स, स्केबीज एंड आर डिजीजेस दैट अफेक्ट द स्किन. हमारी स्किन को अफेक्ट करते हैं और अगर स्किन को हम लोग डायरेक्टली छू लेते हैं दैट मीन्स यू आर in direct contact with that person who is affected. Okay, their germs are found on the skin. If someone else come in contact with the skin of a person having this disease or wears his clothes, then that person can get that skin disease too. That is why it is better to avoid sharing clothes. इसीलिए बोला जाता है कि एक दूसरे के कपड़े शेयर नहीं करना चाहिए, because you never know कि किसी को कौन सी तरीके का डिजीज हुआ है. So direct contact, I hope it is clear. If a person was already infected by a disease like ringworm or scabies, उसके scabies और ringworm basically skin disease है. ठीक है, अगर हम लोग skin को directly touch करते हैं तो हमें भी वो skin के ऊपर ये disease हो सकती है. ठीक है, so here you can see that.
This session was quite useful to you. In the next coming period, we'll learn something new and interesting. Till then, thank you.